Samsung's Galaxy S20 series of smartphones has just been revealed at their Unpacked event, but they left a lot of very important information out of their presentation. Things that could actually make or break your decision to buy one of these expensive phones. Now, it may seem like a lot of these are negatives, and that's because it makes sense for a company to mention all of the positives they possibly can, but we do have a few great things in this list that weren't mentioned at the event. So let's get right into the 10 things Samsung didn't mention. First off, a major feature of the S20 series of phones is the 120Hz display, which allows for super fluid animations and a pretty awesome advantage for gaming. However, what they didn't mention was that 120Hz is disabled by default, and when you do enable it, the resolution drops from the super crisp 1440p that Samsung users love down to 1080p. This means you're only getting around 365 pixels per inch on the S20 Ultra's massive 6.9-inch display. It's not that big of a deal, but it might be a bit deceiving when you see 1440p resolution and 120Hz on the same spec sheet. Now, the second thing that Samsung didn't mention is that although the S20 and S20 Plus can shoot 8K resolution video, you can only shoot it with the 3x telephoto lens. That's because the main and ultra-wide lenses only feature 12 megapixel sensors, and to shoot 8K, you need at least a 33 megapixel sensor. Now, I'm not sure about you, but I don't use the telephoto lens for video too often since it can be a little too zoomed in, even at 2x. So a 3x telephoto will be very limiting. The S20 Ultra does get 108 megapixels on the main lens, so 8K will be great on that phone, but another downside is that tracking autofocus and other video features are disabled. Here's a positive thing they left out. Here in the States, the S20 series uses the new Snapdragon 865 processor, which features a new GPU that should be around 20 to 25% faster for things like gaming, as well as a new AI engine that has over double the performance. The processor performance itself should be improved as well, as you can see in this Geekbench chart. Samsung put a huge emphasis on the crazy 100x space zoom lens on the S20 Ultra, but it's actually a bit deceiving. A lot of people are being led to believe that it's an actual 10x optical lens that can zoom up to 100x, but it's actually not. Samsung calls it a 10x hybrid optical lens, which means it combines optical zoom, digital zoom, software, and pixel binning to get 10x. The actual optical zoom is only 4x, just 2 times more zoomed in than a regular 2x telephoto lens. The rest of the zoom, up to 100x, is mostly advanced digital zoom and sharpening. The benefit of this lens is that it uses a 48 megapixel sensor with pixel binning to churn out 12 megapixel photos with better low light and more detail. However, what they don't mention is that this lens's aperture is f3.6, which means that it naturally takes in 4 times less light than the main f1.8 aperture lens. So some of the benefits of pixel binning are cancelled out by the lower aperture. Now on to the fifth thing that Samsung didn't mention. The 3x telephoto zoom lens on the S20 and S20 Plus are also not actually 3x optical zoom, but only 2x zoom, just like the regular telephoto lens on the S10. They add software and digital zoom to make it a 3x hybrid zoom lens. So while it may still look sharper than a 2x zoom lens cropped in, just be aware that it's not true 3x optical zoom. On a positive note, the selfie camera on the S20 Ultra gets a 40 megapixel sensor, which gets pixel binned into a 10 megapixel photo. This should add a lot of detail and sharpness to selfies, and since the aperture is a pretty solid f2.2, low light selfies should look pretty good as well. So far, the S20 Ultra is looking like it's actually worth the extra cash over the other S20s. Now on to number 7, Samsung advertised that every S20 phone in the series is packing 5G, but there are multiple types of 5G, and not all of them support the same version of it. The S20 Ultra is the only one that actually supports true millimeter wave 5G. The S20 only supports sub-6 5G, which mainly improves reception, penetrating buildings better than others, while the millimeter wave frequency band greatly improves speed. So keep that in mind if you live in a city that offers millimeter wave, so that you don't accidentally buy the cheaper models and get disappointed by slower than expected speeds. For the 8th thing, Samsung did mention that the display is getting upgraded to include 240 Hz touch sensitivity, but they didn't mention that it should also be 240 Hz even if you're using it in 60Hz mode. So if you aren't a big fan of 120Hz refresh rate and you'd rather have 1440p resolution, you're going to be gaining from the 240Hz touch sensitivity, and your phone should actually feel a lot more responsive compared to previous Samsung phones and even iPhones, which is a nice bonus. Here's another very interesting thing that Samsung didn't mention. All of the S20 phones feature an ultra-wide lens just like they did on previous phones. However, the megapixels of the ultra-wide lens went from 16 megapixels down to 12. When we compared the ultra-wide lens of the Note 10 to Apple's iPhone 11 Pro, the Note's ultra-wide photos looked noticeably sharper because of the extra megapixels. But now, the detail should actually be going down to match the detail of the 11 Pro's ultra-wide lens. Now on to the last one on the list. The S20 Ultra's 108 megapixel camera sounds great, but it may actually reduce quality in a couple of ways. The pixel binning from 108 megapixels down to a 12 megapixel photo will help with detail, sharpness, and low light, but what they don't tell you is that this process is going to be a lot harder on the CPU, having to process 9 times more data than with a regular 12 megapixel photo. And since HDR photos take up to 10 images and combine them, it's going to make it even harder to process multiple 108 megapixel photos. This could end up lowering the quality of HDR photos and add extra shutter lag. And as a final bonus thing that they didn't mention, the headphone jack is finally gone on the S20 series of phones, probably because of the new Galaxy Buds Plus truly wireless earbuds. We actually made a video comparing those new ones to the old models to see if it's worth upgrading. So if you haven't seen that video yet, you can check it out by clicking right over there. And if you enjoyed this video, tap the like button and click the circle above to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.